Who's going to win the NFC East?
As a Dallas Cowboys fan, it pains me to say this, but it's going to be the Washington football team because that defense, they got a bunch of filthy dudes. You got Chase Young, you got John Bostic, a linebacker. I love the fact they drafted Jamin Davis out of Kentucky. He can be that Swiss Army knife for that defense. They have the best coach in the division in Ron Rivera, and I trust that Ryan Fitzpatrick will be more Fitz-magic than Fitz-tragic that we've seen from him in his NFL career. And he's exactly right.
That Fitz-tragic. That's good.
Well, believe me, as a guy who played for the New York Jets, and when he did that, he's had those kind of moments where he can look like a world beater, and other times like the world is beating him down. But now he's around a coach in Ron Rivera that's going to say, I want you to be Ryan Fitzpatrick, but play within the confines of the offense. We got a solid running game. We got underrated guys on the outside, and trust our defense can make some plays. Believe me, they have less questions in the NFC East than anybody else, even at the quarterback position. But because he's in that situation and they're asking him not to screw it up and just play the game right like he's supposed to, I trust that Washington will win this division. Man, 9 games could be a runaway in this division. They're going to get 9 to 10 wins, and I think when it's all said and done, they win the NFC East.
Yeah, I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm not a Cowboys fan, and I'm not even really a Cowboys supporter. That's the crazy thing about this. I haven't cheered on the Cowboys in years, even though I grew up in Dallas. But the reason I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys is twofold. Number one, Dak Prescott's going to come back a lot more motivated. We all saw what he did in his first 4 games and some change last year, averaging over 370 yards on offense, 9 touchdowns. Then we all saw what happened when he wasn't there. It was all bad. So Dak's coming back. He's more motivated. He's going to lead really well. So all that said, we could talk about CeeDee Lamb. We could talk about Michael Gallup, talk about a motivated Ezekiel Elliott. We could talk about all that stuff. But what I really want to talk about, my second point, is the fact that this defense actually will be good, right? Their new defensive coordinator, Dan Quinn, the last time he was a defensive coordinator in 2013 and 2014, back when he was with Seattle, they had the number 1 rated defense. You know who the Cowboys defensive coordinator was last year, Mike Nolan? They had the 28th ranked defense. So the defense will be better. Yes, it will take time, but I'm going with the Cowboys. I still love Washington. I'm high on the Washington football team. Anyone who watches knows that. But I think the Washington football team will make it challenging, but Dallas will win the division.
Man, you are just like your brother. You are just like your brother. I watched you
we look good.
last
We
week.
sound good.
I watched you on television last week say that you believe the Washington football team was the most equipped or best equipped to knock off the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Absolutely.
And now you're picking the Cowboys to win the division? It's like,
absolutely.
How can they be a team that is good enough to knock off the defending Super Bowl champion, but they can't win the division? Like, I don't understand. So you're going to have to explain that one to me. My pick is Washington. It has been Washington since April. I think this is the best defense in football. Freddie, you mentioned Davis, the addition out of Kentucky. It's great. It's also William Jackson coming over as a corner from Cincinnati. This will be the best defense in football. I think their offensive line is much better than people think. They kept Scherf. They drafted Cosmi in the 2nd round. That's a huge addition. I actually think this is going to be the fastest, or one of the fastest offenses in football. Terry McLaurin is a bona fide one. Curtis Samuel is absolutely juice. Gibson as a tailback is a fantastic player. And I think De'Ami Brown, their 3rd round pick out of North Carolina at wide receiver, is going to have tremendous impact for their offense. And everyone goes, well, what are you going to get with Fitz? I would say this. The best versions of Ryan Fitzpatrick are always attached to when he's playing with a good defense. Why? Because he plays a YOLO style of football. It's like, yeah, I'm just going to be ultra aggressive. Sometimes the ball gets put in harm's way more than you want, creates turnovers. What does a great defense do when the ball gets turned over? It doesn't hurt your football team. They get the ball right back or get off the field quickly. That's why he plays so well in that style with a good defense. I like Washington. I think the Giants, if Daniel Jones takes a huge step forward, are going to be good. I have a different viewpoint on the division than other people. I think it's going to be a good division. Now to the Cowboys. Stop talking to me about their defense. They have the 2nd highest paid quarterback, the 2nd highest paid running back, the 4th highest paid wide receiver. They have another 1st round pick at wide receiver. They have the 2nd highest paid guard and a top 10 paid offensive line. I don't care if the defense is 30th. I don't care. You should win the division with that. Stop building in excuses for their offensive players. I don't think this defense is going to be that much better than they were last year. DeMarcus Lawrence has to be the best player on the field. And other than that, find me a truly dependable, impactful player on their defense, Acho.
I got you, Dan. First and foremost, so you've been high on Washington since April. I've been high on Washington since last year
But they
before
can't
the
win the
season
division.
started.
But they
Yeah,
can't win the
to win the division. I said they win the division last year, number one. Number two, Big Dan, holler at me. Check me out real quick. You said I'm just like my brother, switching takes, all the things. You can win the division and also not win the Super Bowl. You could lose the division, be second, make the playoffs, and be a better matchup for a certain team. All the reasons that you just said, which are all the reasons I believe, right? Talking about Deron Payne, Chase Young, every reason you just said, scary Terry McLaurin, is the reason why the Washington football team will challenge Tampa Bay, right? But that's a matchup. It's a matchup, right? Tampa Bay's defense is solid. Washington's defense is solid. Tampa Bay's offense, obviously, extraordinary, right? Washington can slow that down. So you can lose your division. Look at the New York football giants, like you talk about all the time. Right. You can lose your division and still go and win the Super Bowl. It's possible. Stuff happens. So it's about matchups. The question was, earlier, Washington, are they best matched up to beat Tampa Bay? And I believe they are. It's a matchup. But who can win the division? I think Dallas can. Not for the reasons you named. Yes, the offense is good, but I've been around good defensive coordinators. I've been around bad ones and good ones, and I've seen them take Chicago Bears 2014, right? We had because I wasn't even on the team then, had the 31st ranked defense, actually 32nd. The year before, 2013, they were 31st. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, 2015 rolls around. We bring in this guy named Vic Fangio, my coach. I played under Vic for 4 years. We went from 32 to 17. No, we weren't number one that next year. But, the next year, we went 17 to 11, and then 9, and then we were number one. And so, yes, there will be a drastic jump. It didn't take superstars. We didn't have superstars back in 2015 and 16. We built that. So the Dallas Cowboys defense will be better. That's not an excuse. I'm not a Dallas Cowboys defender by any means. Right. I think they will win the division. I think it'll be tight. But I also think that Washington is very well suited to compete with Tampa Bay because of a matchup. That's the only reason.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.